Hi everyone, Emma here. I'm so excited to show you how to make this lovely bracelet. This bracelet is made with items that I got in the Curiosity box #1 from John Bead, and there was a bag with all these lovely fire polished, and I think I mentioned they were size 6mm, but I wanted to double check. Yeah, they're 6. And these lovely flowers. So I thought I'd put it together in what I'm calling a calming coral. So I wanted to give it the effect that it's coral, these lovely seed beads put together like this. And yeah, so what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to start with your base in the back. So we'll do a little strip of that to kind of do a bit of a review, because I have done a video on how to start your strip in another bracelet, but I think what I might do is do a video just to stand alone to do that square stitch is what it is. So I have another one here, but just to give you an idea, this is what you're going to want to make. These go so fast. You use 8/0 seed beads, and I'll show you how to get those started. Once you have your strip the length that you want it for your bracelet, then you're going to start adding all these lovely embellishments. And then I'll show you how to put the clasp on using this bracelet. So what we'll do is we'll finish off. Surprisingly, there's only 3 rows left here, but that should be enough to show you the pattern that I used. So that's awesome, and then we can finish it off. It's always nice to finish off a bracelet. So let's take a look at the supplies. So if you received one of the Curiosity boxes from John Bead, you would have received this. If you don't, you can buy these as well. And I have a bunch of these flowers, different colors in my stash. It's beautiful check flowers. I am stunned at the iridescence of these. Let's take a look. See on the edge how it's shining, kind of a rainbow AB. They are so beautiful. And then these beautiful fire polished beads. And actually we don't need all of these, because we're only going to need one of each for now. But you can see if you did get one of those, or if you didn't and you're thinking of the next time, I'm surprised. You can see in this bracelet how many I use. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. And then there's still this. So there's probably a set of 25 beads of these. So like a whole strand. And I would imagine it was a whole strand of these flowers as well. So really great deal. So we only need one of each of those. So let's put these back. I'm trying to keep a clean mat this time. I did finish this bracelet yesterday, and my bead mat was just like crazy. It was stuff everywhere. And then for the base, I used what I had, these 8/0 seed beads. They are transparent light pink, and they're just lovely. And you can get 8/0 seed beads at Michael's that are from John Bead as well. You're going to need a size 11 bead that kind of matches the colors that you're attaching, or you can have them contrasting. For this one, we're going to use ones that match. And then I have a second color that's a bit stronger color, so that it outlines in the middle parts of the different attachments to the beads. So we'll need those two. So let's actually put some of these out when we get to it. So that's 2 types of 11/0s. One is like a highlight bead, and the other one is just a bead that you're going to put all over. So you'll need a few of those. And we'll put our highlight bead. We don't need many of those. And then you're going to need a 15-0. I added a 15-0 in the middle on either side of the accent bead to attach to give it some kind of sparkliness. So let's put some of these. We don't need many 15-0s. Goes up there. When I attached the flower, I wanted the flower to stand up rather than below the rest of these little loops. So if I'd just attached them at the base, they would sit very low. I wanted them to stick out. So what I did was I added an 8-0, and that's these ones here. This is a salmon silver lined. So we just need one of those to show the... Oops, how did I know that was gonna happen? It's beads, Emma. That's how they roll. Literally. Let's put that one back there. So we just need the one and put these guys away. Okay. You need a size 12 needle because we're using these 15-0s. It might be hard to get through. If you can manage with a size 11 or size 10, by all means, go ahead. So do that. You're going to need some beading thread. I am using the dragon thread. You can use fireline. You can use whatever you like to use. I'm using the size 6. I feel like it needs a bit of structure, but you also, it should be thin enough so that these pieces are just floppy and nice, you know, soft. So let's put those there. Now I do have a some black thread, so I can show you how to do the strip of square stitch, which will be the base of your bracelet. So I'm just going to take some of these 8-0s. I'll move the camera down in a sec here. So let's, like this. You are going to start with, I think it's 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 8-0s. So there is your 7. You're going to take it down. You're going to leave enough of a tail so that you can weave this back in. You know what? I think we need a stop bead for this design. I apologize. I've been doing so many designs lately that let me use one of these that I can't remember which uses which. So I'm just going to put a stop bead here. Like that. So let's put 7 on our of these 8-0 beads, and you can, you know, try doing 11-0s instead and make, you know, a smaller weave, whatever, you know, get creative. So you're going to take those down to the bottom of your line like that. This first line is a little bit wonky to do, but I'll do my best so that you can see every step. So it's square stitch, in case you're wondering. So you take your first bead, you're going to go up through this bead here. You're going to pull that tight so that it sits next to the bead that we went through. So we're coming out of this bead here. This is the bead we added. So you're going to go back down this bead here, and I'm just going to hold it so I can get it tight. So there, like that. Now we're going to take the second bead. We're going to go up through the second bead that's beside it and just that bead. So don't go through the other one, just like this. Bring your thread across and then go down the bead you just added. And I'm going to enlarge this so you can Really get a good look at it. Like that. And you're going to do that for all of these. So pick up a bead, go to the bead, the third bead on your strand, pull that through like that. It's going to sit sideways. Then bring your thread across like that. Go down through the bead you just added and pull tight like that. Pick up your next bead, go down through the bead beside that one like that. Okay, that's not friendship. Let me see what happened here. Okay, go up through the bead beside the one you just added, this one here. And I'm going to hang on to it so it doesn't do that again. And you're going to pull it tight. Bring your thread across and go down the bead you just added. And just keep an eye on this part here. Sometimes your thread will get caught on a second bead and you'll have a thread going across. That's frustrating. Okay, pick up a bead. You're going to go up through this bead. Bring your thread across and go down the bead we just added. Like that. Pick up a bead, go up through the next one. That. Bring your thread across, then go down the bead you just added and pull it nice and snug. And there, we're at our last bead here. Pick up a bead, go up through the final bead, bring your thread across like that, go down that bead like that. So there's your first 2 rows, and you can see with the black thread really where everything went. So now what you're going to do, and you're trying to remember this, I forget all the time, I get going, forget, you want to reinforce those 2 rows. So you're going to go up this one, all through those beads, that, pull it tight, then go down through the next row. And now you're back in that same position, so you're back to add more beads. So pick up another bead. You're going to go down through this one and then up. You can put them next to each other, then go up the one you just added. And pull tight. Pick up your next bead. I'm just looking to see if I have some, you know what, I'm going to add a different color because these are kind of hard to see. Who knew? Let's put some gold. Let's get crazy. So we got that first one there. Let's grab your 8/0, go through the second bead in that second row. And it also will start to adjust the bead below it. So then bring your thread across and go up through that bead. And pull tight and you're set. Pick up your next one. You're going to go down through the third bead in that second row. You're going to bring your thread across and you're going to go up through that bead. You're in position now to get your next bead. You take that, you're going to go through the bead beside it of the previous row like that. Then you can take your thread across and go up through that bead. And we keep doing that till you have the length of your bracelet. So go down and up. So you can skip the pulling your thread across. I just do it because you see this could have, I've had this happen to me. So if you're using clear thread and these kind of transparent glass, I've had it where I've done this with the thread and I keep going because I can't see it because it's clear thread, and I keep going and I do the next row and I come down and I'm like, what's this thread here? You're trying to pull it out. So keep an eye on that. Surprisingly, it happens a lot. So grab your next bead, go down through the bead that will be beside the one we're adding, like that, and go up that bead so you're ready. Get that tight so it's nice and snug next to the other bead. And this is your final one of this row. So you're going to go down and go up that bead you just added, like that. And just pull that in. And this step I forget all the time. I think I did it in the last video. So go down to the, so this is the row we just added. You are going to go down through all the beads in the row previous to that, and then we're going to go up the ones we just added, and that's going to reinforce your work really nicely. These beads are not going, they're not coming apart. They're, which is great for this design because we're going to be going through them a lot. So let's do maybe 1 or 2 more rows to get that down pat. So here's the other thing too. To show you how to do it, I try to keep my beadwork in the same position so it's not confusing, because I know sometimes when you're watching and if the person turns it around, it's just that one little step that kind of mixes you up, because we are going up through the top. If our thread's coming from the bottom, we're going up through the top of the previous bead. If I have it like this, we're actually going from the bottom up. So it's very confusing. So I'll try and keep it in one position, and we'll just do that each time. So pick up your next bead. You're going to go from the bottom up through the bead that's going to be next to it, like that, and then down. We want to get in the position, and that happens, not a big deal. You just pull it tight. Pull, always pull towards your work. Grab your next bead. You're going to go through that second bead on the previous row, and you've got your bead on there. You're going to go from the bottom up and pull tight. Bring your thread across and come down that bead you just added. Pick up one. You're going to go up through the bottom of the third bead of the previous row, and it will position your bead in place. Bring your thread across, go down the bead you just added, like that. And as you get more of a strip in your hands, it gets easier to do it. This seems like it's a lot of work, but I'll tell you, when you're, I do them when I don't want to do something complex while I'm watching TV or something. I will make some of these strips up for, I don't even have a bracelet design in mind. I just grab a color that I have a lot of 8/0s that I think I might like. Here's the other thing is, you're not going to see the bottom part of this strip here, because it's what's next to your skin when you're wearing your bracelet. So you're not really going to see this part. It possibly shows through, if you see here, shows through, so you can keep in mind you want to keep it the same color family, but depending on what beads you're putting on top and the weave you're using, you may not see them at all. So next one, go through this second to last bead on the previous row, pull tight and go down that bead. We'll do this another row of this, and then we'll start to add the stuff. Let's pick up a bead, go up through the bottom and down through this one. See, so my thread hooked, and really, can you see that? Like, if this was clear thread, I would totally not see that at all. And I could get like rows and rows down. Now, I have been able to, like if it's just a couple of beads, I have been able to loosen it and then tighten along the bracelet, but that's so frustrating. Having said that, like I said with the other, you may not see it on the bracelet. So if you're adding stuff to it, you're not going to see it. You probably won't be using black thread. So in one sense, be careful. On another, don't stress. So now we're going to go up the previous row, all the beads to reinforce that, and down this one here, like that. I'm going to try and go a little faster and not so many words. I've had people tell me you talk too much. Yeah, it's called YouTube for a reason. It's like, oh gosh, why would you go to YouTube if you didn't want to hear somebody talk? Tell me about it. So, yeah, that happens. That's my reality. I'm glad, like I've been doing this for years now, so I'm glad I can laugh about it. I can't imagine if somebody's starting out new and they're kind of nervous, and then somebody makes a nasty comment like that, you'd be like, what? That's not nice. Way to keep it nice here. This, as my wife says to me all the time if I get frustrated, she says, you know, beading's supposed to be fun. I'm like, yes. Till it all goes wrong. Till you spill your beads. I've spilt my Swarovski crystals all over myself and all over the floor. I picked up a container. I had them loose inside little, like a plastic container. I think I did something wrong here. I wasn't paying attention. And I went through. I didn't go through the other bead before I added another one. Yeah, I have a video of the aftermath of dropping a whole bunch of Swarovskis. I'm still sorting them. That's years later. It was a bunch of reds and oranges and like light color pinks and whatnot. So I have still a baggie full of ones, and I've sorted them, and the colors are so close. So don't forget this step. You're going to go through all the beads in the previous row and then up through the next row. And there you go. So now you have your strip like this. You're ready to add your finishings. I will say right now there is a tip I can give you is you might want to add your clasp now because it gets harder to go through once you've added stuff. Now this clasp is super easy to attach, so it's not a big deal, but I'm gonna put that out there. So let's get rid of these gold beads. I hope everybody's having a wonderful summer. I have a lot of medical issues that I'm waiting for treatments and stuff. It's frustrating, but you know what? It's I'm staying positive, and I've been so fortunate to have John Bead have some faith in me to do some of these videos for them. So I'm so excited. I just love doing this. So let's take a look at her. And I purposely left the thread off of this because I'm going to show you how to tie off your thread and how to add thread. It's basically the same technique. So let me grab my needle with my thread on it. So you're going to use multiple strands of wingspans of thread. So we want our thread, because we're going to continue adding these little pieces here. So we want our thread, let me see, I think we can get this better in focus. So we want our thread coming around here somewhere. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a square through these 8/0 beads. I'm going to start from the side here, from my side bead, and I'm going to find a spot that I want to put my needle through, so like that. Bring your thread through. You're going to leave a tiny tail. You can either cut off the tail once we secure the thread, or you can, if you get really good at this, which I have to say I am from doing this, you can just slightly pull your thread through and get it to that bead there. But you know what? I think we should leave a tail for now. So your thread's coming out of this bead. You want to find a square pattern, so go to the bead next to it in the same, like, you know, the next row, but one, and then you're going to go through 2 beads. You can go through more as long as you create a square. So that's the step 2 here. Pull everything snug. Then your thread's coming out of this bead. We're going to go into this bead. And we're going to do that one more time. So you're going to go through 2 beads. You can go through 3 if your needle's like insisting on going through 3. It's not a big deal. The idea is you want to create that square. So now look, I'm pulling and pulling, and my thread, tail thread's not coming out. It's snug. So we can then go, just remember to go to the bead in the next row that's aligned with it. And this time I can go through all of them so that I can line up my thread over here where I want to add the next. Let's just go to here, that. And I'm not quite at the bottom one, so I'm going to go to the one next to it. And we'll go through all of them on that one. That worked out nice. So your thread disappears. So we need to be coming out of that third. So let's go through, go over to the next row, go through all the beads. That, oh, skip the one there. There. Pull your thread through. And now, I'm not going to pull this through, we're going to work on these 3. Let's cut this off now. So that's how you tie off as well as adding thread. Super simple, no knots, love it. So when I'm working, I tend to hang on to it with my left hand, and I can pull back these strands so that they're out of the way, and I can see where I'm coming in. So what I did was I created these loops here. So let me pull one over so you can see. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of these little pinky coral colors, 11/0s. And what I did was I did 4 of those, a 15/0 gold bead, and then one of the highlight beads, which is another 11/0, and then another gold bead, and then 4 more. And what I did was I created a loop that's 3 beads apart. You can do whatever you want. You can make them 2 beads apart. You can make them the whole bracelet, or you can do them on an angle so they create a pattern. I wanted it to be very poofy like this. So I tested a few on the front end, like short ones, and you know, it tended to look better with the 3 beads apart. So let's try that for the first row. So let's pick up 4 of the light coral beads. Let me move this over so we can get to the beads. Then a 15/0, an 11/0 highlighted bead, another 15/0 gold, like that, and then 4 more of these. So there's what we have. Now our thread is coming out of the end. You know what? I wanted to go forward. I apologize. I want you to take your thread across to the next and go through 3. And I'll tell you the reason for doing this is what this does is that you're always bringing your thread forward when you pass through the beads. So go through just the 3 and then pick up your beads. Let's see if we can get these on. Like that. There. So 4, 1, 1, 1, and 4. So now we're 3 beads ahead. Now we're going to go back through, and now we're going to go forward 2 beads because we're going to add 3 of these loops to each row, and then we're going to intersperse the beads. But to give you the example of doing the first row, so you're going to go forward 2, and that's going to bring you in the middle for the next set of beads. So that, pull that, and there's your first loop. Okay, so now your thread's coming out of this bead here. We're going to pick up 4 of the light coral, a 15-0, another 11-0 of the highlight, a 15-0 gold, and then 4 of the light coral, like that. Now we're going to go backwards 3 beads. So you're always putting 3 8-0s between, and then we're going to take it through to the end to add our final loop. Pull through just like that, so you can see how it starts to kind of snug into the others. So pick up 4 with a light coral, 11-0s, a 15-0, an accent 11-0, a gold 15-0, and then 4 of the light coral. That. So now we're going to count 3 backwards, go through, bring those down so I don't lose them, and get your needle in there. Using the 15 or the size 12 needle will help you get through those even if it's tight. So there is your final one on that row, as you can see that. So now I feel like there's a gap here. This might be a good time to add the fire polished, and with the fire polish I added 3 of the coral, so let's do that. So let me make sure I'm in the right position here. And I think we do 3 as well, so 3 across. So this one doesn't matter as much where we're coming out of, because we're going to just, you know, add it in here somewhere. So let's pick up 3 of the light coral and 1 15-0 gold, 1 accent bead of the 11-0. So this is what you have for this one. This still looks really out of focus. Then pick up your fire polish, like that. Now we're going to add the same, but in the opposite order. So pick up an accent, a 15-0, and 3 of the light coral. So that's what you should have for this one. Take that. And I'm just going to move these open a bit. So we're going to go across 3 beads. I'm going to go through the same row as I was in. So then come back out. So 3 beads down, go across those 3 beads, and just get those there, like that. How lovely is that? How easy is that? So now we're going to go to the next row. So let's get our thread over to the next row and 3 beads in. Like that. Okay. And pull it tight because you notice this one was loose. So, okay. Let's pick up 4 of the coral, and you can do this in any order you want. I did find that I needed more than 3 loops to create this poofiness. If I only put 3, they were quite loose. So adding 2 accent beads, if you add, say, 1 accent on that one row and then maybe a different accent on the other, or you could use all the same, and just try and intersperse it. You see how there's like one of these, then one of these, one of these, then one of these. You try and kind of spread it out organically, but I say that and I laugh because for me it's really hard to be random. I see patterns all the time, so it's like my brain just takes over. So that we're going to add 4 11-0 coral, a 15-0 gold, an accent 11-0, a 15-0 gold, and the 4 11-0 coral. So we went in by 3. So we're going to take our thread, and I'm going to hang on to that stuff, and go back by 3 and then over past the 3 and then 2 more. And pull through like that. Okay, I think we'll add our flower now. So the flower is a bit different. Let me check to be sure here. I think all I did was add, yeah, the so I had this bead here. So it's a NATO. You just want to add a little height. So I'm just putting these 2 on, and I think I used one of these. Yes, I did. One of the highlight beads, the 11-0. So you're going to pull that down, and you're going to skip over the highlight bead, go through the flower like that, and through your 11-0 or 8-0. Now I had skipped 2 beads. I'm just going to go back 1. Let me just turn this a bit. So the thread's coming out of here. I'm going to go through here and I'm going to go all the way out to the other side. And just get in here, there. Your needle is going to bend, just to let you know. It annoys me. They need to stay straight. There. So then just pull it through, and you see how it's going to do its little thing. Not a big deal. When you pull it, it goes through, and make sure it's nice and snug. All the threads have gone through properly, and look at how that stands up nicely. It, fills in that space. So now we're going to add another one of those loops. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 1, 1, like that. 1. Those don't want to get on my needle. And 4 of these guys. Bring those down. I am going to go, try and hold it here so you can see. So my thread's coming out of the end. I'm going to go through 3 beads and bring it through that. Pull through like that. So now we'll finish off with the 3 loops on the end. You could essentially add another loop onto the one we just worked on. We'll see when we get to it if it needs it, but I think it's going to be poofy enough. So what you want to go do is go to your next row, go through 3, pick up your beads, four, 1, 1, 1, like that, and 4. There's so much you can do with this design. So our thread's coming out of that 3rd bead. We're going to come back to the end, and we're going to go through the 3, and we're going to skip over the next 2 as well, so we can set up for the next loop. That. Pick up 4. That and that. And 4. That. There's your next set. So count back 3 beads from where your thread's coming out. Then go through them and go all the way forward on the next beads to the end of your row. And add your next row, your next loop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 1, 1, and 4. Like that. And count back 3, 1, 2, 3. Go through. Like that. So let me see what I did for this side, because it's I may have added a few more just to make it poofy. Hold those guys in place. No, I think it's fine. So what I'm going to do now is we are going to attach the clasp. You need to be at the end to attach the clasp, but I want these last ones to be secure. So like if you pull on that, that comes out. So I don't want that part of my clasp. So I'm going to come through here and do one of those square knots to reinforce my thread tension and then come back. So, and that's just, pick a bead. Just make sure your thread, you're going to go through to the next bead so that you don't have thread crossing over. Let's see if we can get through here somewhere. Oops, I just knocked all the beads. No! The teeny tiny ones. That. And you can see these are nice and snug where they need to be. So that's all I'm doing with this, is getting those guys to stay put. So this way too, if your clasp breaks off, like the thread breaks off with your clasp, that square knot will still be in there, so these guys won't fall off. Sorry. Let me adjust this here. Okay, so now I'm coming out of this bead. I'm going to go through here, and let me get my clasps so I have an idea of where I want to put my threads. So this has 3 holes. These are gorgeous. I'll try and find where I bought these. I think they were probably on AliExpress. I bought them years ago. They're probably expensive now. So this is a magnetic fold-over clasp. These are amazing. They're so easy to use. They are gorgeous. They have some lovely filigree thing in it. And the holes are on an angle, so you can get your needle. Let me show you. This is amazing. Because normally your needle would go here and you couldn't move. Look, isn't that amazing? So we'll make sure we get this on the correct side. That's the other thing when you're attaching your clasp. Make sure you have a front and a back and put it on the right side. I've done this before. It's not friendship. You got to take it all apart. You know what? I've never done it in a video that I can remember. So let's line this up. I think if you take a look at where your holes are and then line it up evenly, trying to center it, because it is an uneven number, so you have 7 beads. So you should have a side bead on each. So actually 2 side beads, and then the 3 middle beads would take your 3 holes. So let's go through. Let's go through. Let's go through 2 beads. Have our thread come out. We'll go through the first hole, and we'll do a square knot through the first hole and the 3rd bead. Okay, so let's set that down for a sec. Let's go through 2 beads. Okay, let me show you what I have. So we're going to go through the first hole. Flip sides here. My thread. Okay, like this. So go through your first hole. Like that. Then you're going to go through the 3rd bead on your bracelet. Pull it through. Of course that hooked on there. Thread's gonna hook where it hooks. Okay, pull your thread through. And I mean, you can do this however you want to do it. I know I'm just showing you what I had in mind. So now I'm going to go through the 3rd hole. I'm definitely not the clasp expert. So now I'm going to go through the 4th hole. Like that. And I would suggest you go through each hole for the first pass so that it stays positioned where you want it. So now go through that hole. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through that next hole, but on the other side of it. So now it's going to stagger it, but it's going to stay in that position. And you can see those threads are loose. I think at this pass you want to make them a little tighter so that they're in there, but you definitely want to keep that position within those beads. So they're like that. Okay, so now we're coming out of this one. Let's go into here, reinforce this. Like that. And you might want to use a stronger thread too. You can always do that. So let me go through 2 here to go over to the next hole. So go 1, 2 beads. Will take me to the middle hole. That. Go up through there. So you can see there's just enough space to get my needle through. I have bought some other clasps, but that there's that bar across there, and you cannot get the needle through it. And I'm like, how am I supposed to put this on? Like, there's no way. I think I did a dispute for that bracelet. So let's go up through the hole. The first hole. That. We're going to go across the next bead to the next hole, like that. And we'll do the middle hole. We'll do one or two more times. I like to keep these nice and snug so they're not going anywhere. So go up through that middle hole, that. There. Then through the next bead. I'm going to go through, through the next. I was going to go through two, then I realized you can kind of anchor that final one both to the next bead or to the opposite bead, the one following it. Either way, as long as it's centered, like that. So now it's really tight. So I think we should end it here. So again, we're going to go, I might go through all of these beads like this. Tight. I'm going to go down through the next row, and I'm going to go back up through this row. If we pulled any of those beads, like separated them at all, it will reinforce them. So let's go through all of these, and then we'll put a square knot in it. Well, it's not a knot, we'll just put a square to prevent it from coming out. Okay, so I'm going to go over a couple of rows and do that just by going through the next row. Okay, so now we'll get in here and find a part way through, go through, start our square. So go to the bead very next to the one your thread's coming out of and pick up a few beads. I'll do 3 here. So now I'm going to go over to the bead beside it in a square pattern and go through 3 like that. There, so that's not moving anywhere now. So I'm going to go over to the next one, and I'm going to come all the way through those beads and cut my thread like that. There you go. So there is your clasp. So you can kind of see the thread, so you might want to add another like another set of these elements here. I hadn't thought of it. I should have checked first, and then because it doesn't, I mean, it'll close fine, but you see how I really attached this one, and then I added extra rows on this side. That's fine-tuning, right? It still looks wonderful. Ta-da! And there is your bracelet. How lovely is that? So this is the, what did I call this one? Calming Coral. Isn't that pretty? So there you go. So I hope you found this helpful and enjoyed your bead box from John Beads. I sure am. I have lots more to show you of the things that I'm making with it. Take care, everybody. Have fun. Bye.